Since 1992, one name adorned the Pima County Recorder's Office.
There's the signature rosters over there in the back corner where we have to scan those and preserve them.
That's F. Ann Rodriguez. For 28 years, her name was on everything from land sales to ballots. A public servant, some things about her personal life remain just that.
Will you solve this mystery for me? What does the F stand for?
I didn't find out what my birth name was until I got my driver's license. I said, "What's this?" And then I heard the story. So I never shared it with anybody.
Okay, and it remains.
It remains. I use it. The F means fun going and fundraising.
But Rodriguez did share that she and her identical twin sister are the youngest in a family of 7. A graduate of South Point Catholic High School and Pima Community College, her parents ran a small business, which she helped manage. Along the way, Business Insiders encouraged her to run. The year was 1988.
But at that time, only lost by 4,000 votes against an incumbent with the name Kennedy. Subsequently, in 1992, I said, I'm going to continue going for my goals, ambition. What do I got to lose? I came so close the last time. It was an open seat, and I won.
Over time, the Democrat won 7 elections, each one coinciding with a presidential race. During Barack Obama's campaign, she took heat for publicly supporting him.
It was different back then. The politics wasn't as hostile. I sat on the executive committee of the Democrat Party and everything, but I also treated the Republicans very fair and was straight and upfront with them. Okay, this is what I'm doing. But remember, I also don't tabulate the ballots either, so that's a little bit of a cushion.
Her career began in the original county complex, a place she affectionately refers to as the Pink Palace. Rodriguez helped oversee the move to the new building.
Here is the old corner of Stone and Tool.
The transition and the overall modernization of the office turned up some surprises along the way.
We found the original one of White Earp when he did them, so I'm getting ready to do some ceilings of those.
With time and technology, Rodriguez updated the office to include scanning and digitizing documents. On the policy side, she led the creation of the permanent early voting list and crafted state policy to allow military members to vote while serving overseas. As Rodriguez reflected on her time in office, she remembers one of her first meetings with the title company.
They didn't direct the questions to me. They directed everything to my chief deputy, the mail. And he picked up on it. And he very nonchalantly, he says, "It will be whatever Miss Rodriguez wants."
A woman who some might say helped break the glass ceiling a long time ago.
I'm long past that. I never used that. I said I am F. Ann Rodriguez, who happens to be of Hispanic descent. That's it, very simple. And then I go from there.
A revenue-based department, Rodriguez prided herself on fairness and transparency.
I'm sure I did not please everybody, but you try to do the best you can. I've had disagreement with some legislators, but I've been honest and forthright with them.
And though things are very different than when she first took office, she thinks service remained the same.
A lot of people say this office runs like a business. During this whole COVID thing, we didn't close. People still need to have recording documents. Some people say, we'll just have them mail it. I says, some of the elderly people, they don't understand what they're doing. Everybody was in a rush to get all their personal financial orders in, their beneficiary deeds, where you can leave your assets to somebody, making sure that they did transfer of properties. I mean, it was a madhouse in here. People trying to get all their stuff in order because nobody knew what was going to be happening. But this office never closed. We were getting ready for the presidential preference election. People come in, and we're public servants.
Before we left, Rodriguez showed us how the office is honoring those who served before her.
My hair is thinned out. I had full head of eyebrows, thinner. It's the only one in color, obviously, because technology changes things.
With humor and admiration, she's humbled at her time serving the public.
It's been a wonderful experience, I have a tremendous amount of gratitude that actually the voters allowed me to continue to do something that I truly enjoyed.
A couple blocks away in downtown Tucson sits the Pima County Attorney's Office. At the helm for the last 24 years was Barbara LaWall.
Thank you, Kat.
Days before her retirement, we watched as dozens of colleagues, friends, and longtime supporters bid farewell in a car parade.
I can't believe you have all of that stuff.
It wasn't the goodbye this longtime prosecutor envisioned after a lengthy career prosecuting crimes in Pima County. Over Zoom, she told me how it was a reminder of how she came to be. LaWall was born in New York and raised in Tucson.
When I graduated from the University of Arizona, I was the first in my family to go to college. You know, none of my other family members had college degrees. So my parents were very proud of the fact that not only did I go to college, but that I was becoming a high school teacher. And they thought that was a great profession. And my mother was frankly very appalled when I said, I'm quitting teaching, Mom, I'm going to go to law school. But I wanted to make a difference and a change in educational policy, and thought between getting a doctorate in education and going to law school, I think I could do it better in law school.
During her second year of law school, everything changed. LaWall found herself divorced with an infant daughter and needing a job. The Pima County Attorney's Office hired her as a law clerk. A challenging line of work that came with careful deliberation every step of the way. From a law clerk to a trial supervisor, she eventually oversaw criminal divisions and then became chief deputy. After more than 20 years, LaWall sought the top spot. LaWall won 6 elections. Looking back, she's grateful her passion paid off.
You are working for the community. You are the voice of the vulnerable, the voice of the voiceless in the courtroom, and you are doing justice every day. So I have really loved the 44 years that I've been in the county attorney's office.
Time well spent, she says. LaWall spearheaded programs like the Drug Alternative to Prison program, giving people with addiction a chance at treatment, and the Juvenile program, helping troubled youth get reconnected with their families and back in school.
Some people have attributed it to the fact that I was a school teacher and I saw a lot of kids that got into trouble that they weren't bad, they weren't evil. You know, that we do have some evil people out there, but I've always realized that there are individuals that if you give them a second chance, an opportunity to go into treatment or rehabilitation or counseling, they can turn their lives around. Somebody needs to pay attention to them and to help them.
LaWall is especially proud that she was able to oversee efforts like the Safe Baby program, Amber Alert, the SMART program that created juvenile prosecutors, the drug court, and even support for victims of check fraud. In 2019, Pima County renamed its Children's Advocacy Center in honor of her work. As LaWall leaves office, though there are no regrets, you might say there is unfinished business.
I have 2 wishes. I wish that I had been able to create a family justice center as part of the Children's Advocacy Center. And then the other thing I wish I had learned to do very early on is, wish I had learned to play golf. And I say that because there's a lot of business that goes on in the county on the golf course. And I was never part of that because I never learned to play golf. So I was never invited along with Clarence Dupnick and Chuck Huckleberry to join them on the golf course. And I think that could have been very helpful.
Now, when you talk about the golf course, you mentioned 2 prominent names. They happen to be men. You are not the first woman to serve in your role, but you're the first woman to be elected to your role. Looking back, do you ever think about the challenges that you had to face just because you are a woman in your role?
I was very fortunate to be in the prosecutor's office because results were measured, not gender. So the office itself wasn't a place where I faced any of those issues, but the courtroom was. Sometimes with law enforcement, it was a problem being a woman. Initially, as a deputy county attorney, there were some of the older cops who came in, and I think they had an attitude of, well, let's see what this pipsqueak can do. And didn't always respect the legal opinions that we would have. But once they saw that I fought hard for them and successfully in the courtroom, then their attitudes changed and things slowly turned around and more women came into the office. And so the women as prosecutors were respected, I think, equally as the men.
Yesterday, we saw your car parade, and what a touching tribute to you and your work. And I saw men, women, law enforcement, Democrat, Republican, organizations like homicide survivors. What did that mean to you to see all walks of life come out to just salute your work and your legacy in this community?
It was so touching. It was so special. I felt very loved. It was amazing. You know, I had no idea that they would turn out in that kind of force.
What's more is that she hopes her work meant something for the community.
I took a lot of risks. I did a lot of things that other prosecutors across this nation are afraid to do, that they're not willing to do. And I did it in the hope that what we would do is produce a great result. So we did, and I'm very, very proud of all of the programs that I have put in place. And I hope I've left a great legacy that remains in Pima County.